চরণ তলে একলা তলরে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলরে যদি আলো না ধরে ওরে ওরে ও আলো না ধরে যদি ঝড় বাদলে আধার রাতে দুয়ার দেয় ঘরে তবে বজ্রা দলে আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা চলরে আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা চলরে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলরে একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো রে
Hi guys, thank you for joining the live stream. The mic was off. I'm still getting used to OBS. Thanks for joining. We have a very important discussion today. This idea just came to my mind 2-3 days back. I discussed it with Shrayan, and Shrayan I think can again come up with all the data, number crunching, come up with cool graphs, buttons that you can press and compare stuff. That ledger, he will make that for this as well sooner or later. But for now, I'm just putting out the idea in the ether out in public because I want this idea to be open access and everybody who has their resources or can look for resources if they are a part of any university and stuff, see if you can pitch it to your social science HOD, etc. And then do a research of this sort, which according to me can work as a legitimate substitute for reservations without creating too much controversy and other victims just because you're trying to solve injustices of the past, often alleged injustices of the past. So the way I'm thinking it can this solution can come about is, let's see who all are here. Okay, yeah. So some people are pro reservations, some people are opposed to reservations, some people really see the victimization of today's general category youth, applicants, students, job applicants, etc. But also at least argue that no, ultimately the lower castes still do have it very rough and casteism hasn't gone away in some far dark corner of the country, therefore have reservations in the entire country. Make upper caste, general caste kids pay the price of some general caste retard in some village. That's what is going on right now, right? And then there are people like Professor Sajjan Singh who comes on Ajit Bharti's podcast. I think as a spy or sort of an emissary of the government, you'll know in society there's an archetype, a pattern, a leitmotif of behavior from the government always. Whenever they realize that it's kind of our people who are pissed off against us and are asking for something that politically is problematic, inconvenient, there send our guys to come across as one of them, as the fellow angry protesters, but also remind them, drill it, incept it into, do the inception in their minds, sow the seeds of giving up before the war has begun. So, first of all, explain to them that reservation is not going anywhere. All I am allowing you to protest about and demand is a few tweaks. So that's what happens in the Sajjan Singh Ajit Bharti podcast, to which I will live react if I have time after this. I'm trying to get my lifestyle and health back together. It's not like my health was really screwed up, but I have some cigarette addiction problems. So Sajjan Singh comes to that podcast and repeatedly says, देखिए रिजर्वेशन तो कभी नहीं जाएगा, देखिए रिजर्वेशन तो कभी नहीं जाएगा, देखिए He is talking to a guy who is heading a movement called Reservation Hatao Andolan, who has called him in good faith and repeatedly utters that phrase. What the fuck is the point of that phrase? So anyway, we will discuss that in that live stream, but there are people like Sajjan Singh as well, who I think often legitimately say that, yeah, it's just politically not feasible for any political party to get rid of reservations, so admit it as the reality of the day and suffer in silence and ask for tweaks. Whereas political feasibility depends on the demands of the base. How the fuck can it be logically, politically feasible to convince the majority of the country that they will have uniform, secular, Enlightenment era, Renaissance era, humanist laws, and somebody else will have Saudi Arabian and Taliban laws? How the fuck did that become feasible? It became feasible because their side accepted it, our side accepted it. Whatever is accepted, whatever is demanded, that becomes politically feasible. So, Sajjan Singh is very convinced, or people like Sajjan Singh, or my detractors as well, who start off with saying that, no, you don't understand BJP's problems. Or stuff like Abhijit Mitra, who says, have you ever won an election? Have you ever won an election? Modi has won an election, therefore shut the fuck up, demand for tweaks. So, in this case, Sajjan Singh comes and explains that, yeah, give up on that before the war has begun. Don't ask for tweaks. But since reservations are creating problems for many people, are creating victims today, it is discriminating against people today who maybe allegedly have their lives better off, but still are having some problems, right? So for them, we need reservations. Now, this is what we can do, I think, instead of reservations. What are castes? My old viewers, you are going to get another brief history and understanding of caste again. Castes are nothing but exclusive status groups, okay? Status-based exclusive groups, closed groups with their own consumption patterns. Consumption of what? Everything. Food, entertainment, education, etc. Consumption pattern implies what are the stuff that they consume and through which medium do they consume it. How do they consume it? Do you watch cricket or football? Do you watch MMA or gilli danda and kabaddi? Do you watch it in a 27-inch flat screen smart TV in your home, or do you watch it standing outside a TV shop? Do you only go to eat in biryani restaurants and Chinese restaurants, dressed in slippers and 3/4 and a nice t-shirt maybe? Or do you go to fine dining restaurants where there are dress codes and stuff? And what's the quantity you eat? Stuff like that. Now, that is an inevitable and forever historically prevalent situation in every non-primitive society in the history of mankind. It just has different names, different durations, different degrees of intensity. Anytime a society moves beyond simply primitive subsistence survival, the issue of status will come into being. René Girard, one of my favorite philosophers, passed away in 2007. His idea of mimesis is what goes on in the doing of caste, in the performing of castes. How you present, how you actually perform the action of showing off your upbringing and your family's historical standing in society. Now, René Girard says, you do not desire an object. You desire an object to signal to somebody else what it might say about you if you desired that object. And we will never know for sure, and we will never really get to the bottom of it if we are talking about us. It's very easy to diagnose these things in other people, but in yourselves, it will be very difficult to diagnose. For example, feminists who say that they don't dress up nicely for men, as if they would really dress up in an uninhabited island full of tigers or maybe just trees and plants. Would you get up and dress up? Would you put on your makeup? Would you really care about your looks if nobody was there to look at you? And some women say that they dress up for their female friends. That is also a temporary thing, but deeper. The causality still is men. Their women friends will compliment her based on what men like. Take men out of the equation, dressing up does not make any sense to anybody. So in that situation, the woman will say, no, I just desire this nice bindi for objective reasons, for myself. I like that bindi. But René Girard is saying, no, you like that bindi because of what it will say about you if you wear that bindi, how pricey it is, etc. Why else do we value random stones and rocks and objects and pieces of metal, naturally occurring substances? Because it has exclusivity. Some people, because it is a scarce resource that some people can acquire only to some degree, and richer people can acquire it to more degree. And richer means economic class, status is caste. When you use the phrase in everyday India that he's a very classy person or a high class guy, etc., you intend to say actually caste and status. You mean to say a high status person. Class does not mean that. Class means economic distinction. What amount of money is there in your bank? You don't call a Trunamuli Gunda with red hair and a weird looking earring and who has 1200 crores of black money in his bank. No one calls that person classy. No lower middle class or even lower middle class maybe if it's against the parents' wishes, but in middle class at least, no bhadralok will at least have their daughters marry that guy, right? So his 1200 crores in his bank does not matter. He's not classy, even though he has economic class. He is richer. He can buy off that father who is not letting his daughter marry him, etc. Now, that's economic class, that's status. Based on status, people form exclusive groups and it very quickly becomes endogamic. Notice how the same exact thing happened to even Brahmo Samaj. Brahmo Samaj became a distinct caste of its own. It became endogamic. Their kids married only amongst themselves. Their consumption patterns was different from everybody else. They operated like a caste. Did they behave badly towards somebody? That is casteism. And that casteism is not done by everybody and anybody all the time in the ways that you think casteism works. The things, there are kind of two things basically what is considered casteism. One is active bad behavior, like pani nahi pine dena, or slurs, or don't enter my temple, etc. Or simply representation, that, okay, this caste does not seem to do that particular job, so therefore the employers in that particular job, I think, are actively discriminating against this particular caste. That's the kind of retardation that goes on there. Because with that way of looking, then one society's entire orientation of looking towards crimes becomes fucked up. In UP, if a Brahmin vocalist of a rock band beats up his, let's say, Vaishya guitarist, in UP that headline will read, Brahmin beats up Vaishya. The same incident in Kolkata, the headlines will report, vocalist beats up guitarist. Even though we are talking about representations, it's exactly the same thing. Because representations, if representations are a thing, then we have to consider West Bengal's history, Kolkata's history, where every position of power in every profession has pretty much forever been occupied by Brahmins or Vaidyas or Kastas of Kolkata. Today you ask any non-Bengali to name a few Bengalis. They will name only Brahmins or Vaidyas or Kastas from every profession. They have not heard of anybody because nobody has really achieved that. Now is Bengali society casteist for not having let anybody else get to positions of power? By commie metrics, yes, because representation is not there. Because in Tollywood you see everybody is Brahmin, Vaidya, Kasta. Today in police forces at least there are a bunch of Goyals and Kumars and Agarwals, Jaiswals. But in art and culture, academia, etc., you name a Bengali, it's more often than not, it's a Brahmin or a Vaidya or Kasta. Most of it, which has started to decrease only after 1991 economic liberalizations, and therefore the economic upliftment, which after a few years leads to their own status performances. Now, if that is status and that is economic class, then what is cultural capital? Cultural capital is the skill set, the knowledge, the degree of it that any particular family possesses. And higher the status, the more will be your cultural and social capital. Social capital may or may not be had by upper castes. What happens in places like UP and Bihar is that the lower castes have a bunch of social capital because of caste politics, which isn't there in Bengal. So in Bengal, there is absolutely no recourse for any lower caste person for anything because there is no active casteism going on in Bengal. At least not in front of your face, not very obviously. Like there will be, I know one set of Brahmin parents who did not let their daughter get married to a lower caste Hindu guy, but then happily married their daughter off to an ashraf. Then there are midday meals, casteism issues every now and then. So there are sporadic, random happenings, occurrences every now and then in random places. Now, and I know people in my Varna as well, which is the Vaishya Varna, look down upon Motuas, Namoshudras. So every caste does that anyway. So cultural capital is that thing which is possessed usually by upper castes. Social capital may or may not be possessed by only upper castes. Economic capital, we know everyone what it is. Now, what I'm suggesting is quantify the cultural capital in upper caste, non-reserved, not just upper caste, any non-reserved, high-achieving family. Quantify that and replicate that with some other technology in the families of reserved SCs, STs, or who hope to get reservations. Okay? And why? I believe, and anyone who's not a crazy commie believes that the family dynamics, family culture, how parents talk to each other, what topics do they discuss, how do they talk to the kids, what topics are discussed between the parents and the kids, and what are even the casual discussions. I'm not talking about some parent treating their kids as the next Einstein and only talking about physics all day so that with the hope that their kid becomes a physicist one day. No, casual discussions. What is the degree of knowledge in the casual discussions in the family? All of that will lead to the success of the kid, right? What's a casual conversation in a let's say non-achieving family? PNPC, right? Or non-Bengalis don't know the word PNPC. Discussing what that uncle did, what that auntie did, what that kid did, what's Modi doing, etc. Nothing more, nothing less. Pretty much a degenerate horseshit. What do the kids discuss among themselves? Again, random meaningless things. In high-achieving families, they are casually discussing advanced politics, sociology, political science, or science, STEM subjects. Because those families are high-achieving, they usually are actually in love with their subjects. They have an interest in their subjects, so they like to talk about it more. And it's not like they are at the mercy of their bosses all day long and they hate their bosses and therefore hate their jobs. They are frustrated in life. They won't talk about anything fun or nice. Only fun or nice is IPL and porn. That's not the kind of thing that's going on. Now, how to then quantify or gauge that cultural capital? Here is what I'm suggesting anybody with the resources do in their homes. Somebody will have to put up a website where everybody can collect their own samples, okay? I'm suggesting, like if this was a properly structurally funded research project in an anthropology or sociology department by any university, how would they go about it? Send some ethnographers consensually to the homes of unreserved upper caste people and allow them to live with them for 2 to 3 months and record every conversation in the household all day long, keep the recorder on in your pocket and just chill there, just stay there. Whatever are the private conversations that they will do inside, if they are having a fight, they will go inside, the parents. Only the non-private conversations will be recorded. Put that audio into any large language model and ask it to find out how many words or sentences were uttered in the day in front of the child or with the child. Sentences and words that will predicate, that are a prerequisite for that child's success in the future. And if there are consent issues, if there are funding issues, if in fact this is not how it gets done in the end in the world in the next 5-10 years, here's where I'm suggesting you all to come in. People who are in, no matter what your caste or level of achievement, all of you do your recordings, and after somebody sets up a website, send it there so we can actually have data across castes and economic lines and see the difference, and see it like, if you are a young parent today, you are from a non-reserved, high-achieving family. And by high-achieving family, I do not mean just Tesla or SpaceX. I mean, you are in the upper middle class of India. You earn, let's say, more than 3-4 lakhs per month, or at least 1 to 2 lakhs per month. You are about to become a parent, and if you are earning this much, it means you are very good at something at least. And how do you talk with your spouse? How do you talk with your children? Record all of that. And if you are a child yourself, ask your parents for consent and permission and record them all day long and collect it all in a database. And then we will see that clearly the family dynamics, the culture surrounding education, knowledge, vidya is vastly different between those families who want reservations because they need reservations, and versus those families who do not have reservations but even then achieve things because they simply work at it twice harder and study twice harder. Then when we have these recordings and we have actually concluded that yes, it's just the family dynamics helping it, not what particular tuition you went to. Even if you come from that kind of a family where there's no knowledge, gyan, information, high quality conversations, go to any fucking tuitions, you will go nowhere. Unless your parents have given you some tools to jump into a different caste. Like it happened with me. I am not Brahmin or Vaidya or Kasta. My consumption patterns are pretty much the same as any Brahmin or Vaidya or Kasta in Kolkata. All my friends have forever been either Brahmin or Vaidya or Kasta. All my girlfriends and ex-girlfriends have forever been Brahmins or Vaidya or Kasta. Am I a casteist for that? No. I'm just simply operating according to my status, according to my friend circle, according to my consumption patterns. How did that happen? How did the Shaha guy become Brahmin Vaidya Kasta? Because I went to a convent. That's how my caste jump happened. So, the gap that technology will have to fulfill is how to replicate that cultural capital of upper caste or general caste non-reserved high achieving families in lower caste low achieving reserved families. That is all. And now please start suggesting how can we do that. That I have not yet come up with a solution. What can be done? What? I think there are many things that can be done. There are, let's say, what can the government do to replicate the cultural capital, guys? All you need is replicate that cultural capital with the help of technology in those families. If you spend so much on freebies, if you do reservations this hard, which fills up the system at every fucking level, in every fucking profession, with people who are bad and suck at their job, then at least spend something on technology which will help lower caste families or SC/ST families. Why not start with removing socialist policies? You cannot consciously apply capitalism on a societal level. Instead, we can remove the barriers, for example, rent laws in Kolkata. This is also the logic behind blacks getting behind in America, right? No, ex post facto it has come. But yeah, this is pretty much, many people have argued this as well. This is how you make prodigies more often. If that happens, I'll single-handedly destroy feminazis and commies. What are you all discussing? Finance, business, share market and investment. You are not representing the commerce side, Dada. This is just yeah. I don't have any friends from commerce side. Yeah, one or two. I therefore keep forgetting you people. आप तो बनिक है, आपको तो आपदा में अवसर देखना ही चाहिए. Bonics are OBCs. Some kinds of bonics. Shorno bonics aren't. Gondho bonics are OBCs. People who would trade in spices. Let's see any comments. Blacks were doing relatively better than they are doing today if DI policies weren't enacted. No, not DI policies. Great Society Program. Bro, you are not going to like the answer. A $15 trillion GDP boost in the next 15 years. Yeah, tell me, how can we replicate the cultural capital, guys? This is what Biden kind of ended up hilariously saying, that black families need some kind of tape recorders to learn how white families talk to each other, etc. He was unknowingly talking about cultural capital in the family. But there has to be some audiovisual medium to replicate this. Training the parents won't work. Parents just won't have the time. As per your idea, aren't we going into someone's private space and deciding what's private and what's publishable? No, we are asking for consent. Consent ho gaya, end of story. There's no more controversy after that. Ludwig is saying entrepreneurship, research funding in STEM, encourage problem discovery, identification and solving agnostic to genre style of thinking, civic infrastructure and... Arey baapre, Ludwig kahan chala gaya? Ludwig, I'm saying hypothetically right now, let's say if Narendra Modi is convinced with my argument, what can GUI do today to replicate cultural capital from non-reserved families? Are you saying there's nothing to do? Are you saying it's only a long game by doing entrepreneurship and research funding, and then even the discoveries can come up which will actually in the end up help in replicating the cultural capital in other families? Even though we are middle class, ghade cultural capital, balo nahi sadly. Yeah, it has happened in some families, but if you are Brahmin or Vaidya or Kayastha, and if you are from Kolkata, you had cultural capital, I would bet up until if at all you have in fact lost it. I don't know what's your metric for saying that you have no cultural capital, but if at all you have lost it in your family, I would bet it probably went away in your grandfather's generation or maybe your great-grandfather's generation at best. Otherwise, it would have been there. It's lost now because of West Bengal's fucked up economy. Dada, isn't reservation supposed to do this? Parents get educated, get jobs. No. Why reservations can't do this? Good question to bring up. Reservations are ignoring what's going on inside the family, which is the main predicator of why the kids are not doing well or not being able to compete with the kids from the upper castes, bro. That is what. Therefore, reservations are not solving it. All the while going on making more new victims today from the general castes for alleged historical injustices, when we are not getting reparations for other historical injustices that also happened, in fact, to both upper castes and lower castes. Like we are not getting reparations for jizya, but you are paying the price of your great grandfather possibly having behaved badly with some Dalit, some of today's Dalits great grandfather, but you won't get jizya reparations. So with reservations, those kids will become better at getting into institutions. How will they compete? Okay, you gave reservations in the tuitions now then. Private sector reservations are only a matter of time. How does he cope in the tuitions? What magic leads him to suddenly cope with his peers when he hasn't earned that spot? That magic is unexplainable, which is why so many people drop out in the first place. You cannot. Somebody is leaving you behind in this race every living, breathing moment by simply being part of a family which has cultural capital. How will you make up for that every moment worth of getting behind by getting into an elite institution and finally sitting beside that guy? How is that supposed to be? How is that supposed to work? Dada, can you tell me why does Rajbangshis call them as they are the real descendants? Are they really descendants of some king, and why are they categorized? They are real descendants of kings. They are categorized under SC because our state is Chutia. Also, my examples extend to art paintings of Raja Bhoja, for example, statues of Michael. Wait, what's Ludwig talking about? Why can't Hindu society not Ludwig? Yes, in a way, but these qualities largely encourage certain cultural capital and also blending things different. It's long term, but also asks people to. No, Ludwig. See, I have a lot of sympathy for your argument or your idea, but I'll still argue why it won't work because look at this more broadly. Okay, you are saying entrepreneurship, research funding in STEM, etc., encourage problem discovery. Let's say all of these things are again a bag of good things that you hope are pushed in society. There are similarly other Hindutvadis who are saying make that mandatory in history books, make that mandatory in economics classes, make that mandatory in schools, and praying to God that works. People are, then that person who is analogous to your problem is simply assuming that everybody likes to study and is good at studies, because non-Bengali right-wingers are usually such nerds, especially people who are talking about it on the social media. They are such nerds, geeks, and cute good boys in school. They think everybody is like that, and if only I had learnt about Aurangzeb's misdoings in the history books, I would definitely be a Hindutwadi growing up. No, bro. You could not have held a gun to my head in school and made me study. But, on the other hand, what has America achieved? What has Hindutwadi families achieved? What has BJP families achieved? All of their kids are today woke and CJP protesters. So, what I'm saying to you, Ludwig, is that in general, no matter what the country, state, society, in any advanced civilization, lower status people will not talk about knowledge. Only upper status people will. They know the secret sauce to success. The lower status people do not know. They think they come up with all sorts of inane, random, bullshit metrics and causalities for success. They think that stuff makes people successful. Therefore, no matter how much you encourage research funding in STEM, entrepreneurship, problem discovery, lower status people, whoever is lower status at any given moment, will not talk about this stuff. They will talk about IPL and porn and whose wife said what. Okay. So in OBS, I'm having an easier time looking at members' comments, okay, because there's a nice highlight. So I will be looking at members' comments mostly. Also, my examples extend to this you said. Let's see, what was Kanda saying? Why can't Hindu society, not government, collect funds and uplift poor in our society? My idea is vague and I have no roadmap, just throwing ideas. Because the Hindu society already gives so much money to temples and in taxes. And उसके बाद uplift poor के नाम पे और क्या होगा? Uplift poor के नाम पे हाथों में पैसा दिया जाएगा या फिर फ्री के स्कूल खोले जाएंगे? फ्री के स्कूल तो हिंदुओं के हाथों से खोले गए हज़ारों पड़े हैं पूरे देश में, पूरे दुनिया में. तो और क्या बाकी रह गया? Also, my examples extend to, अच्छा ये तो हो गया. Abhay saying, College Street Kolkata include Ludwig in the CSK Vanguard group. I will, yes. In Haldia, only in few pockets there is high Bengali culture, whereas Kolkata overflows with it. Absolutely God Empire. You know the reason? The reason is proximity to power. That also affects status. Cultural capital, proximity to power, exclusive groups, status, consumption patterns. These are your key words and key concepts to remember if you truly want to understand castes. India has never taken human capital seriously, so reservations don't matter. Only hope is technology replacing human stupidity, which is such a... I want admission in Vanguard too, but I'm not exactly clear what are the exact outlines. Yeah, we'll discuss that. 48% of dropouts in IITB were from reservation. They only made up 6% of entrance. Yeah, neon commies will say that because they were discriminated against further after getting into college, therefore they dropped out. Or because systemic. Use the word systemic anywhere and you can justify anything. Wouldn't you say the Great Society program and policies such as that were the primitive to modern day DI policies and practices? Yeah. If they stop incentivizing the behavior and consumption patterns of reservation mob, then the government... No, that stuff is not happening. Today I'm talking to people like Sajjan Kumar who say that no, reservation is not going away ever. About the language, Ebonics is keeping back the ghetto black population in family. Yeah. I'm not sure if recording HC will get you genuine tapes. High Caste, right? Will get you genuine tapes. The knowledge of live recording can censor actual expression and dish out near scripted conversation. Which is why I'm saying do it for 2-3 months. For 2-3 months, you can't hide. You'll have to get familiar, get friendly with that ethnographer as well. Point taken about the lower status people. To elaborate, lower status people also dream big, but IPL etc. is universalized as that was their consumption too. Yeah. You will show off certain things just to get familiar with other people. Also, ticket out of poverty, but the risk and chance aspect is never considered as that's too much detail for them, or rather they see the risk as worth it. Yeah. Do reservations exacerbate the problem of ghettoization? 100%. The state is telling you actively, remember what your caste is, remember, write it down, fill it up in the form. What will you do then? Identify as your caste only. I'm the only Nomoshudro or SC in my college chemistry department, but I've categorized myself as unreserved. I don't know if I've done anything wrong, but I did to understand caste dynamics. Do you mean, when you say you have categorized yourself as unreserved, you mean you applied as a general student, right? That's how you got in? And you did that just to understand caste dynamics. Holy shit. But yeah. Nice. But it's all a matter of... Let me give more examples. All the examples I've given a bunch of times. Let me give them once more if anybody new is watching. Which is, people will... let's say it's 3 Brahmin Vaidya Kaista friends from Jadavpur University are hanging out amongst themselves, and Tiwari or Pandey from Bihar comes to hang out with them. That Bihari boy will not listen to the same music that the 3 Brahmins Vaidya Kaistas from Kolkata in JU listen to. He will not watch the same movies. The difference will be huge. One will be considered absolutely lowly, subhuman by the upper caste commies of JU. And therefore that guy will not get into, that Bihari guy will not get into the exclusive status group of those 3 JU commie kids who are absolutely against casteism, who are absolutely in favor of reservations. But he will not be able to be friends with a Bihari Pandey, no matter how good he is at STEM, if he listens to Bhojpuri songs. If at all it has to be done, boarding schools could be the way. If recording and all can't be done, warden style boarding schools. No, I want recordings between parents and kids, and between parents, which just is an extra layer of confirmation that yes, see, the quality of conversations is better in those families. So to universalize different things, gain knowledge as a bad example is the goal, right? So why not tackle this at a government school level, show them why cricketers and actors are losers? How will that work? It can never work. Schools can't convince you of this. Again, you are thinking that anything you magically include in the syllabus will magically happen for the student for the rest of his life. First of all, the kids in the school like me will forever stop listening to that student if he comes into the classroom and says, fuck Virat Kohli, who gives a shit? And secondly, even the good students will be confused as fuck, grow up and not take that teacher seriously anymore when they see that, okay, our teacher said not to take Virat Kohli seriously, but everybody else is taking Virat Kohli seriously. Or unless, Rutvik, you mean that in one generation, or maybe 25 years or 50 years, people will genuinely stop caring about cricket just because they were told so in schools. That is also not going to happen. Either it's going to happen only for cricket and they will replace it with some other sport or some other personality, or it will not happen at all. Aspirations exist. Otherwise, there would be no mimesis and status in the first place. If you could achieve this, then that would not have happened. Because that is a reality, because status is a reality, because status performance is a reality, because mimesis is a reality, because you are buying something to explain to someone what it says about you if you're buying that. Therefore, this won't work. Therefore, you cannot demean something just in schools, which is looked up to highly in society. Like rich people, richest billionaires, if they are having a meeting and you have been invited into a fine dining restaurant, you will probably go there thinking, oh, it's a rich people affair and I must bring out or rent a suit and go there in my best suit, my best watch. You go there dressed that way and you see Zuckerberg walk in with a plain blue t-shirt. Both are doing caste performances, status performances and mimesis. The poorer guy is signaling to others that, see, I'm wearing a suit, therefore, am I not kind of a billionaire? Zuckerberg is doing what is called negation of the mimesis. He is still bothered about the mimesis, but he is negating it. But his life still surrounds around the mimesis, which is, everybody in my caste wears a suit anyway, therefore I reject that. I wear a t-shirt. If there are societally held values, if there are signals, then status will happen. If status happens, then this can't happen. What is your opinion on the victimhood narrative in various parts which has overtaken most of the world? When and what do you think triggered this? Also, is India becoming woke before becoming rich? India has forever, for a very long time now, been woke. For what? What has the Indian state been anything other than woke? It was woke with nationalistic tendencies, nationalistic discourses and symbols every now and then. Every fucked up social program that USA has done, India has done that way before USA. And today's BJP supporters go around saying that proudly. Victimhood narrative in various parts which has overtaken most of the... No, victimhood narratives comes from Christian morality, slave morality. René Girard, Nietzsche says this already, but in fact even René Girard, who actually likes Christianity a little more, also points out, actually explains why this has happened. He says, forever, every religion or society used to glorify the winner, the victorious, and make somebody the scapegoat, and use that scapegoat as the container for all things evil and negative in the society, and sacrifice that, whether it's an actual goat or doing an encounter of a rape accused just because you are very worked up about rising sexual crimes against women in your society. But that encounter victim is your scapegoat, so is the actual goat you are killing in front of Makali. Christianity is the first religion which was formulated from the POV of the scapegoat itself. And therefore, Christianity can never come out of the discourse of slave morality and victim mentality. Whatever the victim says is true. Whatever is the victim's worldview has to be the worldview of the state. That is the Christian understanding of the world. That is the Indian understanding of the world. And it was kept at bay by fucking Hollywood because of the US fucking constitution, because of the American founding fathers. They have simply now lost at the war because of so many attacks from so many places. Why did you receive casteist remark even after not taking reservations? You are asking somebody else, right? I'm from CU, so even if I had categorized myself as unreserved, it did nothing. U8 spoke not in IFS, but in an absolute. What are you talking about, Rudvik? U8 spoke not in IFS. What is IFS? Not maybes, but in a... My roommate is in a previous hostel was a Muslim. He used to speak at length with him night after night about our favorite films. We both were fanboys of Ray Kubrick, Kurosawa. Abso-fucking-lutely, Neon. That Muslim boy is a BBK. He's a Brahmin Vaidya Caste adjacent. Is this a Q&A session? All our live streams are ultimately Q&A sessions. So what does it mean? This is somebody else's. He was Sheikh, so an Ashraf. Guess that checks out. I see. Lean into their tendency to drop school and do work and earn money. Make them do it using local handicrafts, and get them to target people at status above them as they see it as a way to get there. Too many moving parts according to me, but even moving parts can work if there is in fact state intentions behind it. Yes, rich and poor and middle class is the real hierarchy. No, that's not the real hierarchy. Yeah, maybe that's the real hierarchy. That's the hierarchy you need to worry about. But no matter what the hierarchy, actually you don't need to bother about it unless the hierarchy is too lopsided, too one-sided. I listen to Bhojpuri songs while having hex. Yeah, but do you listen to only Bhojpuri songs? If so, you are not going to get into the consumption patterns of somebody who listens to Beatles and Metallica all day. Dude is equal to what kind of guy you are. Sometimes you cover Gramsci, sometimes Nietzsche, and today you are Pierre Bourdieu. Dewey, bro, you are too. Holy shit. And brother, you are too good to be true if you know I was talking about Pierre Bourdieu. Nice. Nirbhaya assault perpetrators and Anpal Kasab are victims, so Indira Jaising and Rana Ayub are against capital punishment. Dada, have you seen Adam and Stitch show? No, I haven't seen it. I've heard a lot about it. So what does it mean when you said that you have categorized yourself as unreserved, right? Is Honey Singh Volume 1 famous in Bengal? It is now, but for every Bengali other than the Bhadralok community. The Bhadralok community, academically speaking, is just the Brahmin Vaidya castes in Kolkata, from Kolkata. And Kolkata specifically, because without proximity of power, none of this works, guys. What the fuck happened to my hair? Holy shit. I had a bath, then I went for a 45-minute walk with my dog. When it was drizzling, that's why my hair is now screwed up. Oh my god. Where did the comment go? Arey, so many comments came up out of the blue. Anyway, I was talking about proximity to power. Guys, proximity to power is important because that proximity is the only thing that matters. How close you are to the powers that be, how close you are to powerful people, do you hang out with them? Hanging out with powerful people is the fucking key in understanding proximity to power. And hanging out is specifically a thing. Hanging out is the important key word because a lot of people will meet netas and leaders, right? But it will always be for some problem. Sir, ye karwa dijiye, wo karwa dijiye. Or sir, please get this passed. Or sir, please, I want this. Or sir, please, I look at my plan. If your conversation with a powerful person begins and ends with, sir, please do this X thing because I am asking or requesting you to, then you are not in his status group, right? Because you're not hanging out with that guy, no matter how close to his house you live. But the first people who are getting into the status of that guy, at least, of that powerful guy, is that group of people who can hang out with that guy. Now, if your neta himself is a low status guy, then again, proximity to power will have its limitations. The high status people of that society will hang out only with the high status people in the power structure, not with the low status people in the power structure. West Bengal is now a distortion because all sorts of stuff happens which makes no sense. Actually, everything makes sense, but it's in a historical context. Therefore, like in that Taslima Nasreen event, famous Tollywood director who has even 3-4 months before the elections made a film where there is a lot of bhashanbazi against Hindutvadis. There's a scene showing a character debating with a Hindutvadi and telling him how he has no clue what real Hinduism is, what Islam is, how certain Muslims helped her get over the border during partition, etc. Okay, that film director in that event almost goes up and hangs on the lap and shoulders of Shankudev Panda. Shankudev Panda is not Bhadralok by any stretch of the imagination, by any stretch of the definition. but that director is Bhadralok. That director goes and calls him out and says, "Kire kemon achish?" And it was like 2 minutes away from sucking his dick. That shows you that the social elite, the high status in Kolkata is going through a churn. Some people are getting into high status, some high status people are no longer high status, or their status makes no sense because, remember, economic class matters a little. Economics is in the primitive, in the primary stage. Very soon it becomes everything other than money and things you can't see. You can see in their status performances by the things they buy, of course, but economics matters a little. So today probably Tollywood directors are so fucking poor because the biggest Tollywood hit in the last 50 years made around 8 crore rupees. Therefore, you have to call upon Shankudev Panda and hang out with him. Pray to God he hangs out with you. But that's not the case with most people. Everybody else will hang out with people like Swapan Das Gupta in the government, right? Because both come from the same status and same caste. Now, that could have happened regardless of where you live and stay. What is happening to the people who are not hanging out with the Brahmin Vaidya castas, who have never had the opportunity to hang out with the British or the Congress government or BJP government or Trinamool CPM governments, etc. Okay? How are they also Bhadraloks? How am I then including them as well in the proximity to power discussion if they have never actually hung out with people in power? Because that region's ecosystem develops. That region has its own cultural, own technical know-how in matters of status performances. Because even though the guy hanging out with Shankudev Panda might be the only one hanging out with Shankudev Panda, everybody else can hang out with that director. So there's a trickle down of power, a trickle down of status in that way, which is why status jumps happen, which is why even caste jumps would happen, which is why Brahmins would write fake genealogies if you just paid them enough. And there has been research on this as well. Hitesh Ranjan Sannal has done a phenomenal research. I have discussed that paper from our live streams long back. That live stream is called How to Buy Your Caste. In that same way, my caste jump happened just because I went to a convent. Where casteism would become a problem is if I had the exact same consumption patterns of a Brahmin Vaidya Kasta. I like Game of Thrones, I have read Harry Potter as well. And then they say, your surname is Shaha, fuck off. That is what has happened, that is what is going on today in certain villages of India. Why should you or I pay the price for that? But that proximity matters only because everybody else's status gets passed around and the know-how gets passed around. And frankly, the consumption patterns, are easier to replicate or emulate or copy. That's it. It's difficult further away you get from the center of power. In the city, let's say 30 years back, okay? What were the core cultural capitals? Knowing Rabindranath, Nazrul, Karl Marx inside out, okay? Now, if you are from Mednipur, first of all, your pronunciation is not going to let you get anywhere near Bhadraloks ever. Secondly, everything you know about Rabindranath, Karl Marx, etc., you will read second-hand, third-hand. Either you will read original translations of German works or you will read contemporary Bengali works written in your era by authors who are still alive. But there comes the delay. You are then not in the caste group of your author because that author lives in Kolkata, is definitely Brahmin or Vaidya or Kasta, possibly hangs out with Buddhadev Bhattacharya, Jyoti Basu or other senior, at least well-educated CPIM leaders or Trinamool leaders. And he has a lifetime of knowledge after which he is writing that book. So you are about 40 years behind that guy. Now you think you sitting in Mednipur and reading that book will get you into that guy's status group? No. First of all, your pronunciation, but because you are far behind in the knowledge as well. I caught up in the knowledge because what is considered knowledge, that changed hugely. If I had gone to a convent, I would not probably be able to become Bhadralok adjacent if it was 80 years back. No, it would still work, because convent education would forever have given me an access to the Western world, and Western world is forever a status symbol in all of India. It's going to happen because they were the previous colonizers. It still happens with Islamic culture as well, even though they were our colonizers much before the British. We are talking about the beautiful Brahmo Samaj accent. Right? Brahmo Samaj accent is the only accent. 100% reservation in all government institutions except maybe army and let's say police. Whoever wins UP wins India. You agree? Anti-incumbency is big in UP this time, 6 months. No, Eastern India will take up the mantle. Even Pushpa 2 collected 50 crores in West Bengal, yes. The highest all-time grossing film in West Bengal, I think, has been, at least in the last 20-30 years, has been Jawan, Pathan, something like that. Either of one of those two films. Okay, let's see. Where did those comments go? Okay, Aditya is saying, hey NEERAJAN, are you aware of David B. Zilberman's work on sociology? No, I've never heard of him. Riddles in Hinduism, what's your opinion? Do you think the questions raised there are not legitimate? No. I don't think any questions raised about the texts of any religion is important. Only thing that matters is what that community is doing today. Like I've said many times about hypothetical puppy torture in Ramayana. I've said that if there was puppy torture in Ramayana, why do I care? Are Hindus religiously doing today puppy torture just because it was mentioned in the Ramayana? No, then I don't care. And more importantly, I started reading the full Goldman and Goldman Ramayana. Today we had a members session. If you want to know Ramayana inside out in English, follow our membership live streams, guys. Just today I was reading up the Ashwamedha parts, where King Dashratha is setting up his Ashwamedha Yagya to have 4 sons. Now, what is Ashwamedha? Burning alive a bunch of innocent animals who have nothing to do with your state, with your religion. You will tie them up, burn them alive while they're struggling and writhing with pain, and then sniff the burning flesh of that animal and think you will get 4 sons. So, based on this, am I supposed to hate Hinduism now? Hate Ramayana now? No, I realize that that text was written in a point in time when these things were normal and their values were different, and they just could not afford to love animals all that much. But just don't come up with the Hinduism respects all animals bullshit. Chat, is there any unpaid online chat group for CSK community I can join? No. Bronze Age scripture, yeah. Will the BJP's Hindutva taking refuge in Ambedkarism reap long-term political benefits for Hindus, like more political awareness, No. It will get political unity, but it will be meaningless political unity. You can talk shit about certain texts in Torah, but see where the Ashkenazi Jews are in the world. Never should any talented guy or gal join bureaucracy. They do excessive corruption. Why do you think regime change is not possible in India? Regime change is possible, but in in less obvious ways. Like today, if you do an election and if BJP loses, was that a regime change? You can say yes if it is in fact proven someday that all the CJP protests, the leaking of the papers, all the Kanwadi attacks, all of that was being pushed and being funded by the enemies of the country, then yes, this was possible and this was achieved. If today BJP loses, regime change happened. Regime change can't happen in the Bangladesh way, in one fell swoop. That stuff cannot happen. Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh stuff cannot happen. Ukraine stuff cannot happen. Please review David B. Zilberman. Okay, why is he important? The more decentralized the landmass, the more people will have proximity to power. Even Pushpa 2, yeah. Niranjan, would you cover Baudrillard? Yeah, someday. Yes. Covering Bourdieu as Baudrillard. I don't think I'm pronouncing it right. Comes from Bourdieu and de Saussure tradition. Yes. A good alternative to current reservation would be the only one where kids of the SC/ST community who gets the seat job based on reservation are debarred from future reservation. Depends on what you are actually trying to solve with reservations. People say some things, people mean other things in their hearts. That's the problem. Some people just think it's about an economic alleviation, poverty alleviation program. It is not, it has never been. So we're not talking about poverty or rich anyway, poor or rich anyway. Some people say it's just because of historical injustices. If it is only and only because of historical injustices, then your argument doesn't work, my argument doesn't work. Then we are all fucked anyway. 5,000 साल का alleged अत्याचार हुआ है तो 5,000 साल का हिसाब किताब भी होगा. Meanwhile, you will not get reparations for jizya. But if there is any well-meaning person who genuinely is bothered and saddened by the fact that lower status, lower caste families, kids from those families are not doing well in schools, or at least achieving as high as the unreserved upper general caste kids, to them we can pitch this idea. For them, this can be a solution. It's not, remember, SC versus OBC is exponentially worse than SC versus OBC versus UR, unreserved. Any other attempt is impossible because the Bhim lobby is the strongest one in India. No, the Bhim lobby has been made strongest by BJP. They did not get strong on their own. How are you so sure that it won't reap long-term benefits? Won't you agree that the current biggest self-inflicted problem of Hindus is political division on caste lines? But that caste line is not going away with that political unity. That political unity is standing on the shoulders of division on caste lines. तो क्या फायदा? Gandhian cultural capital is dying by using Gandhi's own thoughts. Gandhi is still cultural capital pre-mass social media and after, like in 2017, especially those who didn't do extra research outside school. Yeah, like today I was watching a protest in JNU. Some people are demanding the release of Umar Khalid. ABVP goes there and says they demand Umar Khalid's hanging. And an elderly female professor starts saying, Gandhi ko kisne mara tha? Gandhi ko kisne mara tha? As if anybody in ABVP is really ashamed at that. As if they would say, oh my god, she got me. Oh shit, our side kind of killed Gandhi. What do I do? So that's where she is stuck at. So maybe killing memorization or accepting that long form is a way, but selective targeting helps accelerate. Killing memorization? No. You are, Rutvik, all your solutions are applicable in a parent situation only. And I don't know how to go educate parents. Yeah, maybe have podcast awareness generally. Yeah, that's working, of course. Only better upskilling outreaches can improve their conditions. They are not talking about conditions. Even with better upskilling, they will not have knowledgeable discussions and conversations and choice of words and pronunciations, correct pronunciations in their homes, no? Bhim lobby is strong because of leftists and Congress, not because of BJP. Acha. The lobbies which got absolutely destroyed 2014 onwards, in 2019, they became strong. And that's not because of BJP. What kind of math is this, bro? And are you saying BJP did not use caste conversations and caste or reservation discourse to come to power, stay in power? Really? Congress was going to move away from caste from reservations someday because they had started the conversations. That's how any intelligent state or king operates in the history of mankind, except BJP. Start the conversation through the hands of academics or your Brahmins. See what happens. See if they can mold the minds in a certain way. Then have a particular policy after people's minds are changed because academics are saying it. And what were anti-BJP academics saying in the 90s? 1997, Irfan Habib writes the most important paper that destroys all caste all today's mainstream politics, reservation and caste discourses and conversations and claims and truths. Irfan Habib destroys all of that in 1997. 2002, Dipankar Gupta comes up with his book. What's it called? Interrogating Caste. Same stuff. None of them are saying that casteism never happened. It happened after the British. They are not saying the right-wing bullshit, okay? Nor are they saying that कहाँ कास्ट था? देखो गीता में तो लिखा है कास्टिज्म नहीं होना चाहिए, therefore कास्टिज्म नहीं था. They are saying that the myth surrounding caste, the mainstream belief about caste, that is not true. Dipankar Gupta is saying the same caste hierarchy does not remain in the exact same way across India. Go 5 villages apart, 5 kilometers away, it's a different caste hierarchy. It's a different set of jatis maybe, first of all. But even then, some other jati is at the top in this village and some jati is at the bottom, and in another village, vice versa. Like Hitesh Ranjan Sharnal, while doing that research on Brahmins making up fake genealogies and handing out caste certificates in the medieval era, there's a huge situation surrounding the Shaha, the Teli castes. Okay, there takes birth another caste called Tili, who say we are distinct from Telis. And Hitesh Ranjan Sharnal, going village to village, sees in some villages Telis say Telis are beneath us and lowly, they must fuck off. Vice versa for Telis in some villages, Telis say they are superior and Telis are inferior. In some villages, they have no clue that Telis and Telis are different castes, they are all Telis. So Dipankar Gupta is pointing out that everywhere it's just the Brahmin dominating, just the Dalit. That's not what's happening. Andre Beti, half French, half Bengali sociologist, legendary, forever argued against reservations. Irfan Habib, I'll go through the Irfan Habib paper someday again, but Irfan Habib's points, guys, insane. Says there's no casteism in Rig Veda. People could not have converted to, he doesn't mention this explicitly, but since so many people say that Muslims, people who are Muslims today converted to Islam just because they were lower castes, Irfan Habib says, why? I mean, Muslim kings had a gala time because of casteism. It was a society running on autopilot. They used casteism to their benefit in administration of the society. Okay. Irfan Habib says that repeatedly. He says many other things like Buddhism and Jainism increased the casteism problem. People who used to be Vaishyas became Shudras all of a sudden because they are in professions where insects happen to die. He blames Buddhism and Jainism for that. Mentions that the Shakya clan was endogamous. Later they joined the caste system. When they were technically Panchamas, because they were beyond the caste system, they were still endo-fucking-gamous. And why were they writing these things mysteriously in the 90s and early 2000s? Because Congress was trying to move away from this. BJP swooped in and put the caste conversation on steroid to win elections, just like Congress did in the earlier years, just like some other party will do in the next few years. Your view on Arun Shori's book on Savarkar? My point is, just because you have grievances against BJP, don't bring that out on Savarkar. Because even BJP doesn't give a shit about Savarkar. That I've seen entrance test results for both JU and Presi, and the rank difference between SC and general category aren't that great. What do you think of it? Is online education the reason? No, online education has improved decreased the gap, obviously. It's leading to caste jumps. Remember, why doesn't... no, I'll get to US later. US, by the way, is the only advanced civilization where casteism, statusism cannot really happen all that much, because the economy is such that every 10-12 years, most of the population is having to reset their lives, kind of, because they are losing everything in the markets. There's a market crash every 10-12 years. So nobody can really go around being a mere chacha vidhayak hai for too long. 2 generations at max. हमारा यहाँ इतना rigidified stagnant economy है जिसके वजह से ये रह जाता है. And biggest example is West Bengal. It's no wonder that the allegedly most anti-caste society has only Brahmins, Vaidyas, Kastas in positions of power. How else did that happen? Because of economic stagnation, not because Satyajit Ray was casteist. So yeah, the problem will be the user, what's his name? Okay, he has no name. AB, yeah, AB. JUPSC rank difference between SC and general category aren't that great. That's happening because the SCs who are applying to presidency are Bhadralok adjacent, and they have become Bhadralok adjacent not because of reservations, because of 91 liberalization. Same way it happened for me. If this breakdown of the gap between SC and GC had happened in some other college and university, in some lowly college or university in Kolkata or West Bengal, I would look at other factors. But since Presi and JU is such a Brahmin Vaidya Kayastha stronghold, it takes so much cultural capital to get into those spaces. Therefore, I'm claiming that those SCs also have enough cultural capital. They have grown up on Feluda, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones. Brahmins didn't write any such things before reservation was a thing. Everyone wanted to be called as a great lineage. Then what are you disagreeing about? Oh, you are saying Brahmins didn't write any such things, but before reservation everyone wanted to be called as great lineage, but Brahmins didn't sanctify it, didn't codify it, didn't make it official. Really, what research have you done, Zirath? Go tell Hitesh Ranjan Shandal that, sir, I know you have done research, but it was paid for by George Soros. I have done other research which is not paid for by George Soros, and I have found out that the Brahmins did not do that. Did Irfan Habib actually say that Rigveda doesn't have casteism? Oh fuck, Oritrojit, you are a much newer viewer then, because I have discussed that paper twice, just because it's so awesome. So I'll have to discuss it once again, yes. And I have made bullet points of that paper as well and put it up on Twitter, which had gone viral. And you have to go to that live stream and check out. The bullet points are mentioned as a pinned comment as well. And yes, he said, Rigveda has no casteism. Irfan Habib officially is, Oritrojit, my favorite scholar on caste. After maybe like, I'm not considering Max Weber and Pierre Bourdieu in this discourse, but in a different sense. In terms of the best counter arguments to commies today, to any pro-reservation politician today from any fucking party, for that Irfan Habib is my biggest weapon. Everything Irfan Habib says in that magnificent paper goes 180 degrees opposite of everything any pro-reservation guy says today in the country. Every fucking myth was destroyed in that paper. Destroyed, demolished, made fun of. Because all of those are Dumontian views. Dumo is not, Louis Dumo, is not taken seriously inside academia. He is taken seriously in mainstream politics in India, in society, in layman's understanding of caste. And people like Irfan Habib, Dipankar Gupta, Andre Beti, Sumit Guha, all of these people make fun of Louis Dumo every chance they get. इरफान हबीब को बुलाओ ना पॉडकास्ट पे, अभी जाएंगे, शायद आएंगे, बट ही इज़ सो ओल्ड एंड हिज टेक्नोलॉजी, वट एवर फोन ही इज़ यूजिंग, आई नेवर एम एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड वट ही इज़ सेइंग, एंड माई पेशेंस इज़ काइंड ऑफ गोइंग डाउन with age. I cannot listen to anybody for more than 1 or 2 minutes if he has bad pronunciation. I have sort of given up on putting in effort to understand what somebody is saying. Like Konrad Elst and stuff, I never understand what they're saying, and I just now, my ears get switched off. And like, especially people with very, very, very heavy, thick southern accents, when they speak English, I shut my ears down. I'm not wasting my time for that. It's impossible for me to understand that. Gajapati Vidya Diggaj converts to Sheikh Diggaj in Durgesh Nandini. High caste Hindus became high caste Muslims. Low caste Hindus became low caste Hindus. No, not just that. Low caste Hindus became high caste as well. I didn't see that live stream because Irfan Habib makes me angry, but now, ha ha ha. See, Hindutva 1.0 boy. See what happens when you are Hindutva 1.0? When you think like Dehati RSS people? Imagine so many jatis having bad blood between each other, probably due to competition. If the state hadn't intervened within reservations, we'd probably have a hyper-competitive society. Yeah. There's really a great interview of Irfan Habib, which won't be audible for me. Just after Modi came to power, damn, his vent against Ambedkar is so real. Interesting. Why? Why is he pissed off with Ambedkar? Lesser due to competition, but more due to ancestral enmity. There was an episode in Avatar TLAB cartoon series based on this ancestral enmity leading to modern casteism. Yes, I'm sure Hitesh Ranjan Shandal should have looked at that cartoon. I got selected in presidency. My family never had a reading culture. I just studied for NEET online and got a good enough score to secure that seat. But after seeing SFI flags everywhere, I left that place. Okay, then you got into that college, but you would never get into their exclusive group anyway. Because by what you are describing, I'm guessing NEET. NEET is... wait, did you say you gave NEET? I just studied for NEET online, yeah. So, you're not from an arts background, right? Yeah, you would have made some STEM friends. Yeah, there's no commerce in presidency, right? Yeah, you would have made some STEM friends for discussing notes and stuff, but you would not be their true friend. Also, just so you know, Irfan Habib even supported Ram Janmabhoomi Andolan. I'm not aware of this. I've seen him protesting it. BJP invoking Desi wokeism. No. That's not to be blamed on BJP. This is the Indian state. Everybody, except probably Raja Gopalachari, everybody has been like that, except Savarkar and Raja Gopalachari. Although Savarkar hated Raja Gopalachari, and I hate Savarkar's views on banking, nationalizing all banks, but that was just the flavor of the day. But pretty much every fucking body else in the entire country was woke to the tea, woke to the tits. They had drunk the woke Kool-Aid to their tits. There was no non-woke in anything, as isn't there even today. Therefore, BJP is woke. BJP did not create this monster. Dada, are you somehow behind the inclusion of Shivaji Utsav and Pratapaditya in secondary school syllabus? Directly, no. And Pratapaditya, no, because I do not have any fascination with Pratapaditya anyway. But Shivaji Utsav, perhaps, because you know my channel is viewed by significant people in Bengal. So this poem might have crossed their mind because of my videos on it. It might not have happened as well, because a lot of the Bengali right wing is very well read in this stuff. So they might have known about it forever anyway, but then maybe they got reminded of it because of my video, or they simply came to know of it because of my video. The Shivaji Utsav thing is possible. Irfan Habib was addressing charges by Bhimtas for bias against Ambedkar, and that Indian historiography was ignored in Ambedkarites. I don't understand. Keshav Bedi is an honest Marxist in his historical materialism analysis. Also, just so you know, don't you think Netaji was not woke? He was in the country for a while. How was he not woke? Bro, you don't know everything about Netaji, do you? Netaji would be woke of a different sort. Yes, he would do probably Lee Kuan Yew stuff, but I just have no hopes from the hypothetical Netaji's India, because it would be a dictatorship where we speak German, and maybe the world would be taken over by the German language, so that would not really be a problem. But the dictatorship is what I have a problem with, especially in such a gigantic country. And let's not forget, Netaji was a violent warrior personality. What happens when a violent warrior personality becomes a dictator and has to run a gigantic country with mad amounts of diversity? You would see genocides every day in 3 years after the independence. There's no other way that was going to end. In my opinion, it would have ended very, 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 very darkly and badly if Netaji had been our prime minister or president or premier. Congress is a fluffy, sweet little princess compared to what Netaji's India would have looked like. BJP let ST, SC, OBC turn against... Yeah. True. AIM says same thing about... Yeah, one of the things I... no, see, where I disagree with Abhijit Iyer Mitra is, he says Netaji was a very bad person, a vile man, And also the things that I am saying. I am saying Netaji cannot be called a vile man for doing things in war, which again was just the norm of the day, etc. And he allegedly did not put enough pressure against the Japanese and did not ask them hard enough to not torture the fuck out of Indian soldiers in the INA, in the British army. But I'm saying till the point where we in fact know Netaji, till that point there's no problem with that person. He is simply doing whatever he thinks is best for the country, and he's putting in an insane amount of effort, achieving mad, insane heroic things, which even if you depict in a movie, people will think, that's not possible really. How can that happen? Imagine the context today. Can you imagine Firhad Hakim being the Indian ambassador to USA? That sounds crazy, right? But USA did it. They sent a random fucking mayor to India as an ambassador. In the same way, can you imagine any significant Bengali politician making up ties with I guess then people can say, so today's commies are tying up with George Soros in the same way that Hitler did with with Netaji. Netaji did it with Hitler and then wanted to achieve the same nice, cute things for the country. Both sides wanted good things for the country. So yeah, but back then when technology is not there, you can't contact them so easily. How do you get a fucking meeting with Hitler? People can't get a meeting with Shubhendu Adhikari. That guy got a meeting with Hitler in that era and told him, yeah, let's kind of let's collab and then free our countries. All I'm saying is, he didn't know that all his plans would turn out to be absolutely horseshit for the country. He didn't know that. Therefore, I don't blame him personally. If he had stayed, all I'm saying is he died a hero. He did not live long enough to see himself become the villain. He would have become the villain. POWs had to undergo Rudvik. Undergo का क्या spelling लिखा है? See, he is decolonizing England while staying in England by spelling undergo like this. This is true decoloniality, guys. He's fighting the good fight for us. POWs had to undergo cannibalism and torture, so there is that, quite sure by the Japs, but he did change his thoughts on Nazis, Hitler, etc. Yeah, he did. I'm not bothered about that stuff anyway. I am the kind of dude who would make you homophobic even if... People who did on economics in 1920s specifically learned German because it was prestigious as German political economy, but it was also sociologist. Max Weber also from Germany. Have you read the book Ullashkar? I was listening to its audio story and it's pretty metal. Learnt about it. 1961 killings of Bengalis by Assam Congress government. Acha na, Bengali khada. No, I have not read that book. Please address my 2 points. Political purification of academia and possible replacement of Ambedkarism for BJP to bag ST. Interestingly, just leaving away, the solution to both is the same thing, which is either defund all of social science or fund counter academia, which the BJP just won't do. When it in fact does, they will do for people who believe in Pushpak Viman, nuclear bombs in Rigved and all sorts of scientific discoveries focusing on Gomutra and Gobar. And yeah, I know mare urine is also used in medicines, guys, but my point is, are you going to counter a commie sociologist saying desh ke tukde hone chahiye by explaining to him that, we Hindutwadis were always right to worship the cow because its urine has medicinal properties? What's your counter to that fucking commie? There's no funding. There's only funding for Gomutra type stuff. IKS से लौड़े तुम डिबेट करोगे सोशलॉजिस्ट से? The thing is that, Archujit, that ship has sailed kind of. You defund social science today. TISS, Ashoka, Jindal goes on. Only rich kids get into those places. So rich right-wingers are definitely not going to send their kids to those places, right? Then it's an even bigger problem. Dada, you said communism success in Bengal because of partition, but why other parties, Congress, RSS, not capitalize? भाई वरुण तूने कितना टाइप वो fuck क्या लिख दिया? सच बता वरुण आज तू क्या पी के रखा है तूने? What a sentence. Dada, you said communism success in Bengal because of partition, but why other parties, Congress / RSS, etc., not capitalize on that opportunity? Why them specifically? CPM was early to the party. RSS was kind of getting prevented from addressing that. They didn't have much manpower anyway. Whatever Hindu Mahasabha manpower there was, all of that manpower kind of either passed away, and more importantly, there was a huge influx of respected commie leaders in the society because Varun, remember the main thing. ये जो बंगाली लोग हमेशा बोलते फिरते हैं कि देखो भाई सेलुलर जेल जाके कितने सारे बंगाली थे, उनसे पूछो उनमें से कितने सारे मार खा के कम्युनिस्ट होके निकले थे. ठीक है, मार खा के ब्रेन वॉश होके सब बहुत सारे वैसे लोग पूरा का पूरा कम्युनिस्ट बन के ही निकले. तो उनका सोशल इम्पैक्ट कुछ अलग ही था. अच्छा, इन्होंने बोला है तो अलग ही होगा कुछ. और वैसे भी प्रमोद दास गुप्ता एंड ऑल, दे डिड गुड मास मोबिलाइजेशन स्टफ. दे मेड श्योर आवर एंसेस्टर्स वर नॉट evicted immediately or had some place to say, because we practically stole people's lands, our ancestors. There's no discourse surrounding that as well. Every Bengal colony, Bengal, I'm sure Varun you know by now what Bengal is. Every Bengal colony used to be the land of some erstwhile zamindar. ऐसे ही एक दिन जस्ट हमने छीन लिया आके, जस्ट चोरी हो गया, कभी वापस नहीं मिला, कोई रिपरेशन नहीं मिला. तो वैसा आंदोलन करने में तो कॉमीज वैसे भी माहिर है. दादा, यू सेड कम्युनिज्म सक्सेस. या, दिस वाज द कमेंट. वेयर आर द कमेंट? ओह शिट, इट्स नॉट स्क्रोलिंग, इज इट? Is my OBS hanged? Parents, school, social media, yes, but survey data and recording wouldn't have enough acquiescing to though. So don't you think it needs a multi-pronged approach? Magic bullet doesn't exist. No. In this case, the multi-prongedness of the situation would be everybody getting into it, an open access database. But since my key claim is that the real game is happening inside the family, so you can't solve that with any other way. You have to listen to what the family is talking about and quantify that with the help of AI, and which is very doable. There's allegations by some scholars that Vivekananda was the one who killed Tantrism, Vyakarana and Navya Nyaya in Bengal. Okay. So in your opinion, if I had gone to presidency, I would have gone through a caste discrimination. Even though they don't know my caste, I gave my entrance test 100%. And you would face caste discrimination even if you were an upper caste. If you were not from Kolkata, even then you would face discrimination because you would not get into their status-based exclusive fun cool group. Everyone wants to make a club of their own, guys. दौलबाजी, ग्रुपबाजी, लॉबीबाजी, यही बेसिक टेंडेंसी है इंसानियत का, और उसे ही हम कास्टिज्म बोलते हैं. बहुत ठीक है. व्हेन इट कम्स टू इंडिया एंड हिंदुइज्म, ये सब जगह का नेचुरल ऑर्गेनिक फेनोमेनन है. मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि ऑर्गेनिक फेनोमेनन है देयरफॉर जस्टिफाइबल है. मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि ये इनएविटेबल है. इट्स नॉट रियली कॉल्ड फॉर, इट्स नॉट रियली अ गुड थिंग, बट इट्स जस्ट गोइंग टू हैपन. बिकॉज इफ यू ट्राई टू अवॉइड दिस, then what you do is discourage people's, like when you do economic Marxism, you discourage people from getting richer, then the society falls off. If people are not willing to be rich, that means they are not working at cool things, they are not working hard. Then what the fuck happens to that society? In the same way, if you tell people that you cannot have a status group of your own, you cannot have your own Harry Potter fan club, you cannot have your own status, then you will not buy that Harry Potter book, you will not buy that watch, you will be an ascetic. Then what happens to the state's economy? Where do people get jobs? So it's, yes, these vices, these ills, these flaws are important. That drives the society forward. Be bad person. Be a bad guy, guys. Tolabaji is Bengal's culture. Tolabaji is the cultural capital. Tolabajar orthaniti. You think it's easy reading comments, listening to you, responding to them, and also ask questions. साला दिमाग का 110% इस्तेमाल कर. Nice. That is what is called for in our channel, guys. Dada, do you know about Dalit Chamber of Commerce? Yes. I guess government can do more such things for cultural capital stuff. No. Dalit Chamber of Commerce cannot give cultural capital. Dalit Chamber of Commerce does not have cultural capital. It's just a chamber of commerce for handing out money to people who would not have otherwise been able to secure funding for their companies because they don't have the cultural capital. Dalit Chamber of Commerce exists as a proof that they don't have cultural capital and social capital. They don't have the connections to get that funding. Therefore, they pool money amongst themselves. They don't pool money among themselves. They ultimately take your and my taxpayer money only. Is there any proper evidence behind this Bengalis becoming commies under British pressure theory? I need this. There are many. It's not a very controversial fact. It's a hidden fact. It's not controversial. It's not like I'll get too heavy an opposition from Bengalis right now if I say these things. They will say, yeah, proudly. They went in nationalist, found out a better idea, came out and propagated that. If Bhagat Singh was alive, would he support jihadi communist or tukre communist? Good question. I think he would be like Arun Shori. People talking about presidency see you while me as a fellow Ashutosh College smiling jealously in a corner where no caste, no creed works, only sand. Bhai, tumi kon batcher? So Bhagat Singh reading Lenin was literally funded by British to turn revolutionaries from Hindu to communist. Oh, acha. Oh, fuck. You were not joking. Holy fuck. I thought you were being sarcastic shit. Dalit Chamber of Commerce came because they went and begged for quota in normal chamber. The political party donors asked them to fuck off. Same thing, yeah. Then I did something good after not getting selected in NEET to go for CU. No. Would it really hamper your career if you did not become friends with a bunch of Brahmins, Vaidyas, Kastas from Kolkata, really, bro? That's not it. That discrimination is not a hindrance to your career. Lack of cultural capital is a hindrance to your career. Not a hindrance, not hanging out with people who watch Game of Thrones and read Harry Potter. Don't be friends with them. It won't matter. Not for career, at least. Expect more in coming days. BJP will inject casteism in Calcutta and Presidency University for corrupting students' minds. Wild idea and very anti-publicly known right-wing. Use existing state surveillance, the God's eye system, Kushal Mehra mentioned, to get details about families and their UPI transactions. Wow, Modi ji, wow. जोर के से बोल के सबको स्कीम बता दे भोसड़ी वाले. Also, none of the Dalit businessmen joined the Dalit chamber and stuck to the regular chamber. No, I know Dalit businessmen who have gotten funding from Dalit Chamber of Commerce. 2014-2017 batch. Oh, acha, holy fuck. Ish. Who was the GSEC? Pavel or Shartogda? The year I joined, Pavel also joined and used to tell everybody that he's repeating a year just so that he can be a part of the college's politics. Go through my screenshots of my bawal with Pavel from 2014 during the Hook Colorado stuff. Dada, have you read Seeing Like a State? No. BJP, some ministers all these years smartly turned from unreserved to OBC caste. I went to Heritage, my circle was BB Commie, kinda. Of course, yes. Heritage definitely gave you a caste jump if you were not Bhadralok. If you studied more than like 4 or 5 years in Heritage, then your caste jump is bound to happen. But then your relationship with your parents is going to suffer. Because then you think, wait, my parents are not a part of that cool club, but my friends are a part of the cool club. That kind of stuff might happen. Dada, the entire strategy of BJP and RSS when it comes to education, how much of it do you think is Modi and how much is it MB? Mohan Bhagwat. Modi in Gujarat was starkly different in a lot of his policies. Yeah, he just had a lot more say. Now he doesn't. Now it's entirely RSS. I was in AGCS Haldia not funding the actual businessmen who are billionaires already. Acha. Yeah, because his status is different. No, he also wants to do his statusism. कौन ये chance छोड़ता है? What are your thoughts on Tarun Tejpal case? Your takeaway from the case, leftists, etc. Yeah, hilariously, leftists again expose themselves that they, not all though, a certain section of commies are simply doing their caste solidarity. This is caste solidarity, nothing else. The people who are still defending Tejpal simply come from that Delhi elite circle. That's why they are doing it. They are his friends, etc. Read my comment. I can't see Dada, have you seen the Shuman Chattopadhyay video on Netaji yesterday? He's staunchly Congressy in that regard. No, I have not seen his video from yesterday. I was seeing his video on Anant Maharaj today. What's the time? 11, right? Okay, then we'll go offline slowly now. Modi was known mainly for being hands-off guy in most of the things in Gujarat while still guaranteeing safety and contract enforcement. But Gujarat is a very homogeneous society. That's why Modi could stay hands-off, stay decentralized. I remember his interview. He said, मैं तो कुछ काम करता ही नहीं हूँ जी. मैं तो सारे काम के लिए अच्छा एक टीम बना लेता हूँ. वो टीम काम करती है. Yes, that is how a good nation head of state is supposed to operate. But he just realizes that he can't do that with the country, when it comes to the country, in the party. Because there are too many corrupt people in the party. He can't trust anybody around him. Ullashkar Datto. Oh. Yeah. You will see that in an Amazon series. Yes. That episode will be there on Ullash Datto. What catastrophe needs to occur for GOI to take education seriously? They will have to allow it to fail because this education is not sustainable. The fees, not the model. But it's not going to... BJP is not going to outlive this. BJP is going to go before that happens. Also, is it true about the women soldiers in INA, whatever stuff I heard somewhere? Yeah, I've heard that from many places. What good did Bhalo TMC and NCPI do adjourn cyanidine without FCR and limitation? তাই নাকি? Why ki chorano public para? No, NCPI can still be managed for stuff. It's not the end today. Bhalo TMC should have worked only as a POW, but POW क्या तो मस्ती जीवन दे दिला तो if you have fun and POW has fun hanging out with you, then लौड़ा क्या हो रहा है? Then तो सिर्फ caste solidarity हो रहा है. Everyone is from that same political class. Everybody goes to the same parties. Everybody goes to the same fucking newsroom and hangs out, pretends to be angry at each other when the camera is on. So they are just standing by their own caste people. That's classic caste solidarity, nothing else. Suggest me good liberation channels Indian and भाई liberation channel क्या है? Or do you mean libertarian channels? पर उनका फिर से typo I think. I'm from Vasai, just outside Mumbai from OBC, and I agree with your point that reservation can only bring you up, but first parents to peer to taste of you, and nowadays algorithm only decide what you are. Yeah. Oh, libertarian. I would suggest Reason TV from USA. Also, BJP in some states supporting Brahmin STSC marriages, citing Samaj Samadhan, reality, money loot scheme like false SC/ST cases. More will be in West Bengal. I don't get that, Sandy. How does supporting Brahmin STSC marriage lead to false filing of SC/ST cases? I don't know. Hi, Kumar. Your batchmate now calling her ex-best friend a wishful beggar. Yeah. Have you seen the things she has said for our Modi ji and Shubhendu Da? If every person ignored me just because I'm not from Kolkata, didn't have a reading culture in my family as a fresher, I would have gone through some fucked up emotions. Yes, that's not going to happen. Somebody or the other will forever discriminate against you, and somebody or the other will always end up being in your specific consumption pattern and exclusive group. শুধু ভাবছি how will you interact with your childhood friend who happens to be এই বাড়া তুই কি আমার স্কুলের বন্ধু না আমার কলেজের বন্ধু না you are much younger than to me. Who the fuck are you? You probably used to visit our live stream from a different name, right? Now you have a different name called DB0796. How will you interact with your childhood friend who happens to be... Now, I'm very fucking much looking forward to that, guys. When will it happen? All my other friends are not looking forward to that meeting happening. I am telling them that, see guys, now we are all on the same side. No more debates and bawals or cautiously preventing a debate in every friend's gathering. हम सब एक है अभी, except our few commie friends, we will get them. That's the discussion going on in our friend circles now. Let's see. There's a friend's wedding in December where we will all meet, hopefully again. Neeraj, can we create temple mandala to protect Sanatan Dharma like Vatican Church by Free Hindu Temple or Chakra Theory? What is your view? That can be done. Firstly, the government has to stop taking away the temple's funds. Bhim lust remains me of love jihad and what Khalistanis are doing now. Doi payon, acha, you changed your username, acha. Tai, you know this stuff. Shouldn't we feel uncomfortable having people like them on our boat? They are not on your boat, actually. Dada Varun is asking, bole debo ke? Yes, they are talking about Shayoni Ghosh. What do you think about this education model? Is model or system wrong, or fees or access is problem? Good, great fucking question, Truth Soul. Even though I went almost blind reading that sentence because it has so many typos. But what exactly is the problem? I think the start of the problem, the beginning of the problem was that it's the same exact system left in place by your colonizers in order to colonize, in order to extract stuff from you. How will that system bear any other result? This system, therefore, today is still in place for whoever is in power to extract stuff from the populace at large. As it was designed to, the system is working perfectly the way it was supposed to, but it was put there by the British to extract resources from the Indians. Now it's GOI versus us. Makka Kaba Didi. Yes, she's my childhood friend and in my closest friend circle. We have not spoken since Trinamool attacked me. But yes, up until that point, we were as good friends as we have been since class 9. This status chasing of upgrading genetic lineage, yeah. Both different. BJP termed social justice, minority marrying higher caste, get government subsidy, MP, UP, etc. Recent ST, SC cases more. 40% comp leading false marriages and cases. But Sandeep, bro, give me a hypothetical scenario. What is going on? Like, let's say today, because of some awareness campaign, etc., today I'm a Brahmin guy and I marry a SC/ST woman, or I'm a Brahmin girl and I marry an SC/ST guy. After that, where's the issue of false cases coming up? Are you saying because of the usual marriage-related problems and domestic violence and stuff, all the anti-men laws that are there, are you saying as an extension of that, even SC/ST laws are being used? Are you saying that? If so, yes, then yes, in fact, great point. Then it's an extra layer of problem. Holy shit, I never thought about it. Fuck. Baapre. Fuck. Neeraj, can we remove the clause of constitution, Hindu school teaching Vedic schools like church? After, I think UCC happens, then after church, temple freedom happens. Otherwise, see, Ramakrishna Mission does that. Ramakrishna Mission appealed for minority status for that very reason. So everyone will have to simply appeal for minority status by hum sab minority. You are a minority. You are a minority. We all are a minority. Dada, but you unfairly try to defend her about the Shivlinga. No, unfairly though is in the eyes of the beholder. I'm just saying what are the facts on the ground. The facts on the ground are, okay, even if this is a defense for her, guys, don't take this as a defense. I'm not going to defend her for no fucking reason. Let her do her defense. But I'm saying what I know from my circles, what I've seen in front of my eyes, that she was the only religious, devout Hindu person in our entire friend circle. Everybody else was a fucking degenerate. And the way Brahmo Samaji upbringing has happened in BBK circles in Kolkata, it would have seemed perfectly fine for any Bengali in her age group in that circle to conclude from her meme, from that shriveling meme that, yeah, but condoms are an important thing, it's an important social message, and she is using gods to spread that message. When has anything else happened in India? She was taking the path of every other great thinker of the country, including Ambedkar, except Savarkar. Who took that route? Nobody. Aren't we all oppressed in some way? Yes, we are. Like right now, I'm getting oppressed by the comment section. Yes, I agree on this education system is colonial one and now used by GOI, but which made Prussian, now Germany, and refined Rockefeller then, and we are following it with system for 1 to 5% only. What can you do to change the system today? Right now, I believe in the Sanjeev Sanyal idea of MOOC, Coursera, that kind of stuff, okay? Some good teachers, like maybe 2 from every subject in the entire country, or you don't even need to hire that. You have the best of, okay, maybe you can't understand the accents of every nationality. So 2 top teachers for every subject in every level. That video is up on the YouTube. Look at that for your main lectures. Nobody has to come to your classroom every day to give the same lecture. Whatever you don't understand in the lecture, Google it, ask ChatGPT, or have a tutor. You are going to have a tutor anyway. Society at large, the state, you, your parents, everyone is going to pay for a gigantic school administration. It's fucking swimming pool, AC, brick and mortar, and then you are going to pay for tuitions. I'm saying let the society completely take its hands away from that expenditure and spend only on tuitions. That tuition bro, and even tuition can be solved in a different way. My idea, personal idea, is that grad students, master students, PhD students get course credits because of becoming tutors for their, it's like a buddy system, okay? For doing tuitions in their neighborhood. And by tuitions, I mean helping them understand those lectures. That's all. Or else, if you don't want that service, hire a tutor, because we'll be saving up so much money on other stuff. I find libertarians and communists to be mirror images. Great. Acha, how do you see the appointment of Ramakrishna Mission Maharaj in the state education policies now? Neither good, neither bad. Some commies have wanted to cringe at it, but they have not been able to. They are just not that courageous right now. And they also have forever said that, no, every Hindutvadi is Dehati, but Ramakrishna Mission at least is cool. So now they can't talk against that as well too much. But on the other hand, if you are saying that now SSC corruptions are not going to happen because a bunch of monks are running it, that's also horse fucking shit. I can't open my mouth because if I get sued by the Ramakrishna Mission, there will be no recovery from that. But I know some stuff. I know of their degeneracy, their non-sannyasi behaviors and actions. So just because you are a sannyasi, you will not be corrupt. Bro, that's not happening. I think PK's plan for Bihar education system was good. He was on the same line, spend the money on building good schools, and while that happens, help them with tuitions or private. Native Boiragato. Second half of the sentence is fine. What's this thing called spending money on building good schools? Spending money is problematic. Hypothetical good schools are problematic. And that cannot be solved with somebody else's money. There's going to be no accountability. People will keep on thinking that this money came from somewhere else, from a faceless entity. Who gives a shit? It's not mine. Face-to-face matters, I really disagree with Sanjeev Sanyal here. Also about the tutor mafia and all, just eliminate certain exams, compulsory certain things like hands-on art with system, etc. Digital messes with your head, need paper too, not too much screen time. That stuff is not going to happen anyway. No one's shifting back to papers. When technology comes once, it stays. Like Jyoti Basu, who had forever opposed the entry of computers in West Bengal, when it finally arrived and he could not prevent its entry anymore, he said, just like you accept your unmarried pregnant daughter, you don't reject her from the family, you don't banish her, in the same way we will accept computers now. So in the same way, Rutvik, bad eyesight is here to stay. Whether face-to-face really matters, there I have a disagreement with you. I have had a gala time with all my online courses, and face to face has never mattered. But that is a age thing. I know. At my age, when I was actually face to face with my teachers, I was not giving a shit about studies. When I actually want to study, that's when I was concentrating, and therefore maybe face to face did not matter. But see, kids are going to be on screen for such long hours. They are going to see their school teachers shake their boobs on Instagram. They are going to be 12 years old and shaking their estrogen and dairy induced 36 size breasts on Instagram anyway. So face to face only when it comes to teachers, too pointless because of the price we are paying. They are going to look at something or the other on Instagram. Look at your classrooms on Instagram, bro. Next election, will you vote for NCPI or follow TMC? If those are my choices, I will not vote. Spending money as in the huge chunk of money that is already being spent on schools and teachers just so that midday meals can be served, not extra money. You should try to see that video. What is he spending it instead on? What's his definition of good school? How does he magically come up with a good school when the government GOI has failed at it for 80 years? All I'm saying is trickle feed digital stuff. By the time somebody listens to our idea, we might not need to trickle it. BJP appeasing ST, SC, OBC with banks or Vita banks as GC population declined due to tax terrorism. All these Bhim promoting as Hisab. Any remember EduComp smart boards with projectors and stylus in classrooms? No, I did not. I went to a poorer school. Shanti Rakho, Bolona please. My elder sister worked as quid pro quo for them. She has seen the nastiness in front of her. Please don't say dada ora khub opore log. Oh, acha. You said Bolona please. Oh yeah. More importantly, I have many gay friends. They have many experiences. They tell me stories. Their sexual experiences, my gay friends' sexual experiences inside many hallowed campuses. No, not teachers, not just teachers. It's about doing hands-on work and learning mainly. Also, no. On this, Sanjeev Sanyal agrees with you. He's saying for whatever hands-on experience that is actually required, you hire, rent, book the local college lab for that one day tinkering. You don't tinker all day long in your school, right? All day long what you do in school, eliminate that expenditure with the help of MWC. For tinkering, for hands-on experience, go to the local college. Your school should coordinate with it. Because I'm not saying the concept of school should go away. I'm saying it should be a digital concept, an online concept. I'm all for tuition mafia. At least be the Russian mafia, not Tollygunge mafia. Even the 90% people who take tuitions but don't get admissions are far superior to most other people. Yeah. तो why is government introducing tax on UPI transaction? वरुण, लाडली बहना का पैसा कौन देगा? While it is free market capitalist, which is fair, the demand is because the existing teachers fail. I want to orient that capitalism back to schools and boot dead weight currently there. You have to private this live stream, I guess. On the lines of Army Public School. Bhai, Army Public School operates well because our Army's ethos is a different ball game. They don't do wokeism stuff. That's why Army Public School functions. पीके जाके वहाँ पे नया अपना स्कूल खोल के कैसे कुछ क्या उखाड़ लेगा? Change should happen on one's own field. All cabinets should have reservation quota applied to it. भाई वो तो सबसे पहले होना ही चाहिए. Every pro-reservation politician will have to send their kids to send themselves and their kids only and only to Indian government hospitals. Does that tell all the nutrition channel you watch and trust? No, I should not. Because if someday we realize, like 5 years down the line, that that guy was a fraud, then I'm going to jail because of you following that channel. No. Nutrition is too far. Actually, legally speaking, not just randomly. Medical advice and share market advice cannot ever be given randomly. Dada, what are your annual goals and plans with Vanguard? Becoming not it. You can't say it's an annual goal. The main goal towards which we will get closer to every year is becoming the Brahmo Samaj of the next generation. Not the same views, obviously, but having the same place in society as Brahmo Samaj and RSS in the entire country in the long run. Meaning, first of all, we will be a significant lobby. Second of all, we will be sending our guys into political parties to do our bidding. Neeraj bro, Deuteronomy. ভাগ্যিস বিএচইউতে পড়তাম, ওখানে আর্টসের লোকজন কমই খেলা খেলে না, সিধে মার্ডার হয়ে যায়। আর্টস ডিপার্টমেন্টটা বেশ ভায়োলেন্ট ওখানে। Oh, that's not a good thing. In fact, someday we need to discuss tuition mafia only became such a big thing after revamped school education to reduce stress on students. Right to education, right? Tuition solves the problem of scale, that is the current classroom style is way too big, so have more than one teacher in the so-called classroom after having done. And what fucking hours we are doing in schools, holy shit guys. How will you change this system and how will you replace next? And with whom Sanjeev idea might be great, but will he or other believe to implement it, and there many people benefits from this, will they? No. So ultimately, you can't ask me about the ideal solution and then say whether it's politically feasible or not. It's not politically feasible right now. There are ways to make it politically feasible. That's where academics come in, influencers come in. But your Vanguard team doesn't look very promising except for 2-3 guys. Not 2-3 guys. Maybe 4-5 guys. Yeah, so what? Lobbying is one space where you need quality over quantity. Government hospitals are bad, but government aided ones are good. Your idea will backfire as politicians will use this as loophole. So, you are saying when that law happens, Abhishek Banerjee will not go to USA. Abhishek and Rahul Gandhi will both go to government-aided hospitals? Fair enough. Let them go there. But what if we say government hospitals? Or you have to get treated by reserved category doctors only. Max Weber is calling. Max Weber is not calling me. He is having a bawal with other dogs. Yes, has to become a hybrid system. Most tuitions after COVID has reached that mode where they deliver main lecture online and doubt clearing and stuff happen offline. Yeah. BJP doing whataboutism through gaslighting unreserved JC Hindus with Pakistan deep state and US theories, but reality supporting Bhim army. Yeah, both are kind of true. Okay then guys, thanks a lot for joining. This was a great discussion. I wanted to do another live stream, but I want to sleep early. What was the other live stream I wanted to do? Oh yeah, the Sajjan Singh Ajit Bharti reaction live stream. I will do that tomorrow then. Okay then. Bye bye guys. Any more comments? I want basic personal finance, personal legal, police, etc., electrical, medical safety to be included and made more important than mitochondria. That no is not really possible. I also used to think that real life skills should be taught at school. Why should we learn all the useless stuff? We're here to learn. The problem is that the life skills are a relatively smaller and doable part that no matter how much of a hassle it is, you can still manage. But if you start learning fucking biology at the age of 18, how will we ever have a genius biologist? How will we develop rockets if we teach people sine cos theta after they have passed out of school? So actually that's just a cool slogan that has become popular, but no, life skills and personal finance, all of that can't replace the other pointless shit that we study, because that system is only for the winners. So the geniuses, the potential future scientists do get a benefit out of that. I would not get a benefit out of that, but why should I, as an Indian citizen, suffer later on because my country has no great scientists, mathematicians, because all of them started learning that stuff after passing out. So no, that can't happen. Nadi, your thoughts on homeschooling? Absolutely, I favor it, but it's a thing that can backfire. I think it should be legal, it should be doable. It is doable today already. But you have to be very careful. Anybody thinking of homeschooling has to be very careful to really gauge whether they are educated enough or not. Because imagine Dehati family or a Hindutva 1.0 family believing in all the Dehati aspects of Hinduism and ancient India. वो homeschool करके भी क्या उखाड़ लेगा? स्कूल में जाता तो कुछ कॉलोनियलिटी चुतियापा सीखता, घर पे बैठा है तो कुछ हिंदुत्ववादी चुतियापा सीखेगा, चुतियापा ही सीखेगा वो. Believe it or not, we used to have homeschooling extensively for women and certain groups in 1800 and prior. Muslims still homeschool their women at home, therefore. Life skills are meant to learn in actual life outside classroom. BJP doing what about them? Okay, then. See you guys. Bye-bye now. Good night.
তুই রক্ত মাখা চরণ তলে একলা দলরে, যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে। যদি আলো না ধরে ওরে ওরে ও আলো না ধরে, যদি ঝড় বাদলে আধার রাতে দুয়ার দেয় ঘরে, তবে বর্ষা দলে আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা চলো রে, আপন বুকের পাঁজর জ্বালিয়ে নিয়ে একলা চলো রে। যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে। একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো, একলা চলো রে।